Welcome back, everybody. So, this is the Fierce Felines with our Meaty Mondays. And tonight we are going to go over what to expect when you are doing a ketogenic lifestyle. That could be anything from keto,
Mhm.
ketovore, carnivore, lion, anything that gets you into ketosis. So, we're going to go over some of the things that you can do for that. Okay. So, first, I'm going to talk about eating fatty cuts of meat. So the carnivore diet really emphasizes on fatty cuts of meat. Now, if you're, let's say,
Hey,
if you
Laura.
can't afford ribeye, mhm,
Hey, Laura. I want to add this part. You didn't say it, and it's so valuable. Your how long you and Robin been doing this thing for a while. I think the information that you guys bring forward, you can talk about the different transitions. I'm the newbie on this thing, and so anybody that is truly watching this is your moment to ask those questions. Here are your experts. They walk the walk, they talk the talk. They some of the stuff y'all have tried, they've tried to see. I haven't. So, I'll
yep,
be the last segment. So I'm saying
yep,
anybody that's stay tuned, you're gonna miss out. Go ahead. I'm done. I'm mute
yes.
myself.
So basically, most people transition from the standard American diet and go into keto. So with that, and I think that's the easiest. Like I had done keto for 28 years and transitioned to carnivore, and I think that made it much easier than going from just the standard American diet straight to carnivore. But all of these that are ketogenic are always going to be a higher protein, a higher fat, and either lower carb, very low carb, or as close to zero carb as you can possibly get. And the whole premise behind that is you want to convert your body from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. And the way I explain this to my patients is I tell them that sugar is kind of like kindling when you want to start that fire. It lights up fast, gets the fire started, and then it peters out. It's done. That's okay for that short burst of what you need for a fire. But for our energy, I prefer fat as my fuel source because it's more like a piece of coal. It takes longer for it to get heated up, but once it does, it's lit and it stays lit. So whether you're doing keto, ketovore, or carnivore, some of these high fat options are going to be something you can do. If for some reason you're like, I can't afford this. I do hot dogs, I do bologna. That's fine too. What I recommend for people like that is to try to get the butter and get that in as that extra fat because they're not going to be getting it in with the meat. If you can afford, and I always say, watch for sales, watch for those flyers coming out because you'd be very surprised at how many of those things you can find. So some of the fatty cuts of meat are like ribeye, porterhouse, picanha. Yeah, I love picanha. New York strip steak is okay. It's not really super fatty, although, like my butcher, he knows don't cut anything off of it. So it always does have pretty good fat. Yes, that's a good idea. Of course, bacon, burger, brisket, flank steak, lamb, fatty fish, dark meat. If you can eat dark turkey and chicken, go for the dark meat. It's going to be the higher fat. Okay. Some people cannot do some of those other items because they have histamine issues, but you won't really know what works for you until I know, until you try it. And then see, I've been lion, which just means I do only ruminant meat, fat, salt, and water for over 2 years now. You know, I don't know that I'll ever go back. Every once in a while, I'll try something. And it's like, nope, I got the joint pain back, got the sinus stuff back. So I just am mindful of that. But even if you are doing keto, I mean, it's no different except you add in some broccoli, some, Brussels sprouts, some things like, some good lower carb vegetables on the side and then you're doing keto, and you can do some berries and I think some nuts with keto. Ketovore, I think it's a little bit less. You can have a little bit of those things, but then carnivore is more of just about the meats, the salts, water. Another thing that you can do with this, whether you're keto, ketovore, or carnivore, is eating organ meats. And I don't say this to do this every day. I don't think it's necessary unless your ancestors from 1,000 years ago killed something every single day. They didn't have liver every day. They didn't have kidney every day, heart every day. So I do think that it's a good thing to include in your diet once to twice a week. And if you can't do that, you can do the supplements if you absolutely despise, the taste of these. Liver is, of course, good. Kidney, heart, brain. I'll be honest, I've never eaten that, but I know people do, but I just don't think I could do it. Tripe, um, and of course, cow tongue, which I know, geez, like my mama could make that good, but those those taste buds sitting out, just I'm like, "Huh." So maybe if somebody made it and I didn't know what it was, I'd be fine. And then, of course, the idea behind eating the organ meats, some people also do add in iodine drops. And that's kind of something you got to play with to see if it's something you need, if you don't need it. And you have to play with the amounts. Some people do 2% and do 2 to 4 drops. Some people do five and they do several. It just depends. And again, it's that N equals one experiment. You have to try these things and you have to get out there and listen to other people who have been down this road. I've been carnivore now for over 5. So I've done a few things. So cooking with animal fats is another great thing. So that's tallow, that could be lard. And for people like Rick Charger Mopar, duck fat, goose fat. I mean, my grandmother grew up with goose fat, so I know it was something that they used. Any of those oils are going to be better for you when it comes to cooking. Now, it's not to say you can't make, something that has olive oil or avocado oil in it. But I think cooking wise, I don't know that they cook up quite as well and as safely. And they're just better for you. Another thing that you can do, if you can tolerate these things, is you can add in heavy cream, full fat yogurt, kombucha, kimchi, all those kinds of things, if you're able to handle those things. Again, that's something that'll be kind of trial and error. And then basically, the idea behind ketogenic diet is cutting as many carbohydrates as you can. And as you get further out, so like doing carnivore, doing lion, whatever the other, ism that you're doing is trying to get those carbohydrates down as low as possible and forcing your body to become a ketone burner because ketones is the fat metabolite and that actually crosses the blood brain barrier for energy and doesn't take insulin to get into cells, doesn't need any of that. So it's a cleaner burning fuel. So I think that's the main thing. And the other thing is I know a lot of people go into this with the idea of I got 50 pounds or 100 pounds to lose, and that's what this diet's about. And that can be what this diet ends up having. But really, I think the majority of this is trying to heal the body, trying to get rid of diseases that have been going on. And as a home health nurse, I have seen several patients completely heal themselves keto, ketovore, carnivore of several diseases. I have 2 diabetics, one that was diabetic over 25 years, no longer diabetic, just by changing his diet. Um, so I know it can be done. So that is my part. And then, I mean, ketosis is the main thing. Weight loss will come with it, but let's heal the body. So I think that's the most important thing. What do you have to share with us, Robyn?
Good evening, everybody. It's your carnivorous grandma here. So happy to be back together with you guys tonight for another Meaty Mondays with the Fierce Felines. I just wanted to mention that for the last few weeks, we've been really trying to get back to basics. So whether you're new to the carnivore diet, or whether you have been on the carnivore diet for a long time, the basics matter, right? So Laura was talking about fat. And so we know that fat is very important on a low carbohydrate diet, whether you're keto, carnivore, ketovore. It's more fat than you think. That's what I'm just going to say, because I'm literally surprised at how much fat we need. So I want to talk a little bit about fat adaptation. And as G had mentioned, and I think Laura also mentioned that she was on keto for like 28 years or something, some crazy amount of time. But I was on keto for 5 years. And so there is such a thing as like metabolic switching. So when you talk about burning glucose for fuel, and I'm calling it burning, although the body doesn't do that, it breaks down these proteins and stuff into fatty acids, and our bodies don't burn. But I'm going to call it burning tonight. And so utilizing glucose for fuel, which is the state that most of us have been in for most of our lives, unless we're fasting for some reason. So a lot of times you'll have to fast for a procedure. You may have to fast before you have a test, and your body would go into a state of burning or, metabolizing those ketones for fuel. Once you burn off all those glucose stores. Another thing that will burn those off is like vigorous exercise will burn those glucose stores up. So the object is to get into a state of metabolic flexibility where your body can burn those ketones for fuel. And that takes some time. It can take quite a while, actually, before your body can actually go into ketosis and then easily switch back and forth. So when you're transitioning, you want to make sure that you're having enough fat in your diet so that your body can learn to burn fat. Your body actually has to remember how to do this. You were born in ketosis, but maybe have not been in ketosis again since you were born. Because we start giving our babies formula, right at birth. And it's a sugar-based product. And basically we go directly from ketosis as a newborn infant into burning glucose for fuel. And we continue to do that for the rest of our lives. So that adaptation phase can be challenging. And, and this is kind of where Laura was talking about N=1, your N=1 experiment to determine how much fat can your body tolerate. So a lot of people will find that when they begin to increase their fat, they may have some issues with stool. So stool is a really good determinant of whether or not you're getting enough fat, too much fat, not enough fat, things like that. So fat will help your stools move. And so if you're having constipation, you may need to increase your fat. And if you're having, loose stools, you may want to reduce your fat. So, we're switching over to fat as our primary energy source. And the goal, the objective of all of these ways of eating, be it low carb, keto, ketovore, or carnivore, a lion diet, the whole goal of that is to be in a ketogenic state. These are ketogenic way of eating. So our goal is to be in ketosis. So, we want to make sure that we get that fat adaptation. So teach your body, how to burn fat for fuel. So again, when I started my carnivore way of eating, I had diarrhea for 30 days straight. 30 days straight. And I was coming from a place of metabolic flexibility, but I was struggling because I had been off of keto and struggling to get back on. So, I was eating a lot of things that I shouldn't have been eating, kind of standard American diet type things. And my body really could not handle the amount of fat that was coming in for those first 30 days. But I went from constipation to diarrhea. So, So, it definitely is. It is a transition period. I was thinking about Russ, Homesick Buckeye, and he talks on his channel about how long it took him to get into ketosis and how he was like chasing ketosis. He was trying to get there, trying to get there, trying to get there. Finally, when he got into ketosis, he was so happy. And so ketosis can be a little bit elusive. Right now I'm doing some glucose ketone index testings every day to see, am I in ketosis? How are different foods impacting my state of ketosis? But I can see that I'm very metabolically flexible because I ate some stuff. It reduced my level of ketosis, but yet I was still in ketosis, still in a really good therapeutic state of ketosis. So, just pay attention to your body cues, pay attention to, how your stools are, and then that will help you know whether you need to increase your fat, decrease your fat, from that perspective. So the next topic for me is around overconsumption of protein. I had a person ask this question on my channel while I was interviewing Dr. Ovadia, and we were talking about, talking about food and what people should eat, people with heart disease and things like that. And the person was asking, can too much protein cause a glucose reaction, basically? And the answer to that is yes, it can. So if you overconsume protein, or maybe you're not physically active, you could overconsume protein. So, and I think that when I hear the term that everybody is different, this is one of the things that I think about, is whether or not you need more protein or more fat. So some people say I do much better on more protein. Some people say I do much better on more fat. And so I feel like this is an area that is kind of a gray area for folks. It's going to be your own experimentation to determine how much protein your body can tolerate. But too much protein can lead to gluconeogenesis, which is where your body converts that protein into glucose. And so, we want to avoid that. We know that within the body, there should be only 1 teaspoon of glucose at any time. So if you're over-consuming protein and it's converting to glucose, you may have high glucose levels. So that can, and what I want to say is, when you have high insulin, high glucose, your body will not burn fat for fuel. It's going to prioritize the burning of that glucose first. And so, so that's something to just keep in mind, is that when you have too much, I'm sorry. Weird.
I know. I was going to say,
Hopefully
now, keep in mind there is a storm, so who knows what weather is doing. Yeah, who knows?
Somebody was calling me and it just burst. It just like cut in on my.
Keep going. You rolling, girl. Keep going.
All right. So so that can stall your fat burning efforts, because basically your body will not prioritize fat over glucose. Glucose is always going to be the preferred fuel. It's going to just consume that first. So if you have too much sugar in your system, it's going to keep you from being in ketosis. And it could also make you feel sluggish. Could also, I mean, you're going to be in fat storage mode. If you're not in fat burning, then what are you in? Fat storage mode, right? So your body is taking all that, those sugars, all those different things, and it's stuffing it into your fat cells. So we don't want that. So if you're not losing fat, or having struggles with your energy levels, you could be relying too heavily on protein. it's a balancing act, really, in figuring out for your body what works best, how much what your protein and fat ratios uh, should be, and how that will work for you. But I want to say that fat should be your primary source of fuel. The carnivore diet is a high fat, moderate protein way of eating. And so it's a very high fat way of eating. So I mean, I'm eating the stick of butter a day each day for last month and this month, and I'm finding that that's probably not even enough fat. I probably still need to increase even some more. I'm around 68 to 70% fat, but I think I still need to go up some more. So that's a thing that you need to think about. So the other thing is physical activity. So physical activity will burn that glucose out of your body. It will burn it. So if high intensity, like I know Laura does sprinting a lot, few times a week, and then those high intensity intervals will help burn that glucose off. So that's something to just keep in mind. So you want to make sure that, and we know that, I would say exercise is like 20% of the equation, right? So, and then the way you're eating, the diet is the 80% part. But there is that 20% part that does matter, and you need to have movement in your life. So even if you're sitting in the chair doing chair exercises, we were doing that chair yoga. The chair yoga was no joke. A few months ago, we were doing chair yoga. So, make sure that you're getting some movement. If you're able to get out and walk, that's really, really good exercise, great for the heart, cardiovascular system, and great to get your body into fat burning mode. So, that's just something that you can consider as getting more movement. And then the third thing for me has to do with plateaus. So has anybody ever had a plateau? If you have had a plateau, drop a heart in the chat. Yes, we have plateaued, and it is like terrible. What in the world is happening? I'm doing all the things, everything that I can think of to try to lose this weight. And I'm in a plateau. I've been stuck. So first of all, if you're stuck for a week or two, you're not in a plateau. Don't consider that to be a plateau. It's not a plateau. If you're stuck for some months or even some years, then you may be in a plateau. So it is a very frustrating experience to get into a plateau. And, so if you find that the pounds aren't coming off, then you just have to realize that this is normal. So if you think about the arc of your weight loss journey, right? It's not going to be it's not going to go straight up like that, right? It's going to be like zigging and zagging, and it's going to be up and down. I actually am thinking about this because of the scale. I am like not getting on the scale for the month of October, because the scale is telling me too much about myself. It's like, what does she have to say about me today? How does that scale make me feel about myself? When I see my weight go up like 2 pounds overnight, come on, that's not real. You can't gain 2 pounds overnight. So it's just normal to go through these plateaus. I was listening, I think, to Kelly Hogan, and she was saying that she was in a plateau for some years. Like, she didn't lose any weight for a long time. And then all of a sudden she lost all of her weight and, reached her goal weight. So this is kind of like my position. I have been trying to find my weight loss mode. I'm doing these experiments, trying to figure out what is my N=1? What is my protein to fat ratio? And what can I do to lose weight? But I'm gonna tell y'all what happened today, baby. I pulled these size 10 pants out. I was in my room, and I pulled these pants out and I looked at these little skinny pants and I thought, that is not going on. It is not going on. But I put those pants on, and guess who got those pants on right now? So the scale was telling me one thing, but these size 10s told me something else. And I know how they looked before I put them on. I was like, the legs are too skinny. So, it's just normal. The scale is not the teller of all truths. So we're going to have to keep that in mind. So I'm not getting on the scale for this month. It's really challenging though, actually. And I'm finding that I think about getting on the scale every single day. I think about it. And I know, Laura, you're probably way beyond that. But I think about getting on the scale every day. So I know that I have a little bit of an addiction to getting on that scale and seeing what it says. But remember, the scale is not the be all end all. So, we need to reassess the fat to if you're in a true plateau, meaning you have not budged for months, then look at your fat to protein ratio and see, do you need to increase your fat and reduce your protein? You may need to do that. The other thing to keep in mind is that as you get closer to your ideal body weight, things are likely to slow down. It's very much more difficult to get those last few pounds off. And I'm of the mind where let the body tell me where it's supposed to be, actually. Even though I know I got fat on my body that can be burned off, the body's going to actually land where it's supposed to land. If I stay the course and do the thing, then I know ultimately the body will land where it's supposed to land. And I'm really interested to see where is that? What is that supposed to be like? What is a natural, normal body weight for myself, or a size for myself? Because I've been all over the map, as far as weight. I've been, 200 pounds and I've been down to 115, 116 pounds and did not look right. But I can say that eating this fat makes your body proportional. It makes your body look it makes you look good, and healthy. So reassess the fat to protein ratio. Remember that, as you get closer to your ideal, your goal weight, your weight loss may slow down. Another thing is, and this should be relatively easy to do, is to incorporate intermittent fasting. So I know in our Felines group, we are incorporating an 18-6 intermittent fast for this month. But what I've realized is with this higher fat, I don't need to eat as often. So I'm finding myself easily doing OMADs once or twice a week, just naturally. So, and I will say this because I'm doing the stick of butter, but I notice when I make that butter into ghee, brown butter ghee, it makes me much more satiated. I'm so shocked. That is very, very surprising to me that, one is it's butter and then one's the butter with the solids removed off and then, cooked down, browned up a little bit. And it is so much more satiating. And I really, really can not eat food for a much longer period of time when I use ghee. So that is just a really fascinating point to me. And so, yeah, doing a little bit of intermittent fasting. As I said, when you're trying to get into fat burning mode, the intermittent fasting will help a lot. And then again, back to the point of getting some exercise, you need to get exercise. It's an 80-20 rule. 80% was what you eat and 20% is that movement. So you still need to get movement in wherever your level is at. So if you can't, get up and run a mile, okay, that's good. Maybe you want to walk a little bit, or maybe if you can't walk, maybe you just want to, move your feet while you're sitting at your desk. Maybe you want to just lift your arms. Somebody said pick up those canned goods that you're not eating anymore. Just lift those, and just get your body moving a little bit. So, so what are some indications? I see this question coming in from Charlie. I know that when I was on keto, I would have like the taste of a copper penny in my mouth. And I knew that I was in ketosis. I haven't had that experience since I've been on carnivore, which is why I've been doing the GKI testing. But some people will get, a funny taste in your mouth. It seems like I was thirstier when I went into ketosis. And I don't know, Laura, if you have any other
Yeah.
thoughts about.
Yeah, I noticed that when I really would go into a pretty good ketosis level, back when I was checking it with the Keto Mojo, I could tell because my energy was, like my brain fog gone, like thinking very quickly. I got my best results when I did fasting. So like 1 to 2 day fast, you really could feel it. But I agree with you. I would get this metallic taste in my mouth, um, and my saliva would actually change. I don't know how to explain that exactly, but it was like, and I was thirsty, like you say, but that's because you are breaking down and getting rid of the carbs, the sugar, and the electrolytes are going with that. And then you kind of need to replenish it. I will say that what I've noticed, and I think Kelly Hogan talks about too, is you don't notice it anymore because you're in ketosis all the time now. You're not going back and forth, so it's harder to be like, "Am I in ketosis?" unless you check. I'm not I'm not a big fan of the pee strips that people use. I don't find that they're very accurate. I had both, the ketone meter, and I did the strips to show because somebody was like, she was checking hers, and according to what she was eating, she was still at like zero point 0.2. And I'm like, there's just no way. There's something wrong. So then I did it. I did the strip and it showed me at like 1.3. And the ketone meter showed me at 3.5, which is where I normally have 3.5 to 5.0. So, but yeah, I do think like that funny taste in your mouth. You're like, yeah, not quite fuzzy, but there's definitely something a little different there. That tends to be the main one. But I do think like better energy, better focus. I think maybe has been the ones that
Yeah,
I've
I want to
noticed.
mention about those ketone test strips is um, the urine test strips. I did use those when I first started keto, but I found that, and I think that this happens to a lot of people, your body begins to burn those ketones, right? I'm calling it burning, okay, to metabolize the ketones. And so then eventually your strips are not reading, even though you're actually in ketosis. So the the blood ketone monitor is better for checking your blood ketone levels. But
And they have
they
a
can be.
breathalyzer one.
Oh yeah, that's new. That's a new thing that they
Yeah.
have. But they
Yep.
can be useful at first just to see did I
Sure.
get to ketosis, right? Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're testing to say every day to say like am I at least reaching ketosis, then yes, I would say you could use it for that. But if you're trying to measure your ketones, that's not going to be effective for that purpose.
I
Okay,
agree.
G, you're up.
All right, had to unmute myself. And this is for size 10.
Yes.
Listen, there's a couple of stories I want to tell before I finish off. And I think this is a safe space because I don't think that previous vegans are watching the show tonight. So when we first started this show tonight, I came on to really say how these ladies have walked this walk much longer, low carb, keto, ketovore, carnivore. Me, I was on, look, way over on the other spectrum, vegan. And so when you learn, oh God, I don't know another way to say this. So of course I had some vegan friends, and now there's been such a struggle in my life to not only lose the weight, bump that, keep it off. That is the thing. Keep it off. I'm telling you, y'all do, we look, we did it all the time. You starting this exercise thing and you're going to try and post about it to make you a little committed to it. And then I said, in less than 2 weeks, we ain't gonna see these posts anymore. It is, and then it's like, and sure enough, there they go. And you wonder why your family don't want to follow, is because they see us stop so many different things. So I'm looking at some of my friends who are still vegan, and you are big AF. Oh my God. It's like your thighs, your face, your no, because you're eating the wrong food. And I know everybody can probably put a hand up that you know a fat vegan. And I was one. It's like you're still eating the wrong things. And somewhere we feel like that animal product is so bad that we're willing to put imitation crap to make a flavor of a cheese or a flavor of a burger or a flavor of something than just eat the original thing. I did take some notes while you guys were talking, and finding your tribe was one. So I did this one. All right, I talked about that. And then I want to talk about the strips. So yes, you said it perfectly, Robyn. There is the, whether you're in ketosis or your actual number, and so there is a difference. And I believe for me, um, when I use a strip and it is a darker color, to the purple, um, if I ate enough fat, then it'll register. But if I'm still just eating meat and it's a little leaner, then that color is lighter. So it can, to me, can still indicate it. So when I do it, not only is it for ketosis, but it let me know if I didn't have enough fat as well. Let me see, but you must not eat. Oh, and then when I'm talking to people, this is another thing. When I'm sharing to you about meat, and stick with me, because in 60 seconds I'm getting ready to give you your results. Hey, Miss Betty, I'm getting ready to give you the results in a timeline of what you should expect. Let me just get this last point out. A lot of times, I just had a conversation with a gentleman when I was look on the ship, um, and we had all the food there. And he was just talking about how miserable he was feeling. Um, and I'm saying it's about the meat. You have to eat your red meat, your fat. But let me say this: you will, yeah, you can eat that. But if you're eating everything else, you're still following the SAD diet. And so you're not going to get those results that for. And I'm not even talking weight, and weight will be an issue. If you are stalled, you have to up the fat. You have to up fat and movement. I'm not telling you to exercise. It is about movement. It has to be. If you're sitting still, just pretend you're doing some chair jumping jacks. You have to keep moving if you're not going to get up and move around. Now, let me give you a timeline. All right. So, with that being said, we've talked about a few things. So, the timeline, I'm now, let me see over here so I don't get it wrong. How soon do you see results once you start the carnivore diet? We're talking that because we've talked keto, we've talked all of that. So, most notable changes will happen around 3 to 6 weeks. Okay. A lot of times we tell you 30 days, try this for 30 days. We'll say that. And if we really love you, we're going to tell you 90. but that's another story. Then this is when your body adapts to burning fat for energy, leading to potential weight loss. Let me just say that, because the first part you should really think about, especially if you have ailments, fatigue, any gastrial issues, and then of course your regular high blood pressure, diabetes, those type things. Look to heal those things first. So don't even worry about the scale. If you choose to, I feel that in the very beginning, you should have a number. You ate it, you did it, put a number on it. Now, that's my personal opinion. So now you have it, you wear your badge proudly. You did that. Okay. The only exercise a lot of us was doing was this. That's what we were doing, but that's some butter and fat. I'm sorry, it failed. I had that right there. Forgive me, but that's really good. That was fat. Anyway, so now your gut needs to adjust. Time for gut healing varies greatly. I did not have what I thought was a lot of gut issues, but then I was eating all those vegetables, all of that starch, all of the processed foods, all of the. I couldn't listen to this burger. I had a fake burger on overly processed made bread that took forever to mold, but don't worry about that. And then genetically modified lettuce and tomato, and then this vegan burger. And then I would say, don't put any mayo on it or anything like that, because I'm coming home to get this other chemically altered mayo with seed oil in it, because I just don't want the animal product, because somewhere I've been led to believe that that's not good for me. And so that burger was supposed to be healthy and delicious. And I didn't get any of those things from that. All right. The next thing, so healing of your gut, it will vary. Then the detoxing. I like to say, if you're going to start this, start on a Thursday, no later than Friday. Don't wait. Don't do it on a Monday. No, never, 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 never a Monday. And the reason why is because when you get into days 3 and 4, you have this, you got your sugar drops. Oh my God. And look, you can feel, and it's just better to go ahead and go to sleep and just wake up tomorrow, because that feeling is horrific. But there's some things that you can do. And this process, not to that degree, can take place over the next 2 to 4 weeks. All right. So you're going to have some temporary side effects. Some people might have nausea, flu-like symptoms, brain fog, some irritability. I still had that. Cravings out. You're going to start thinking of things that you had never even thought of to eat and put together. And you're going to swear you just got to have it right now. Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. So you're going to go through that. And a lot of times I tell people, when that happens, just stick a spoon down in some apple cider vinegar. Just put it on your tongue. It'll wake you up. And that for some reason goes away. And 2, I experienced headaches. What, I don't know what, all of the withdrawals I was going through, plus dehydration, because now you're going to urinate a lot. And some people have the diarrhea, and then heaven forbid, you're nausea and you actually regurgitate. So with that, some things, dehydration can set in. So these can be less by adding electrolytes. And I am not talking about the ones over the counter. You can make your own. Laura has a recipe for that. Or there's 2 brands out there that I've used. They have a flavored and a non-flavored. I'll use the flavored, but it's really watered down. So I end up with 1 pack of electrolytes spread out over 2 bottles this size. So it's made in 1 bottle, and then I put it in here and then fill up with water, and I'll take it in like that. I don't want it to be super sweet, because I don't do carbs, and it is really sweet, and I don't like that. Um, okay. Detox. Okay. These, yeah, the electrolytes. Mineralized salts is another one. When I'm out, even on this vacation, I was just taking the Baja Gold and was putting it in my mouth and adding it into some water while I was out. I did have some restless leg, and I know that came from the lack of electrolytes. Many symptoms related to electrolyte loss during the initial inflammation reduction period. That's what's happening. A lot of this, where we think that our feet hurt when we walk, our knees, and the weight. No, it's the inflammation under it that's causing you the issue. So a lot of times before surgery, one of the things they make you do is fast, so the inflammation comes down, because they still gonna cut on you. All right, let's go down here. Let's go to the next one. Another thing, you can, just like the ladies talked about, the macro calculator, you can do those as well. So some additional tips: consider this is a very restrictive approach, and the ladies did talk to us about maybe starting, I always say, one food items. What is that? One ingredient items. If it is a potato, then have the potato but don't have nothing else on it, and know that that'll turn into, so you can't mix. So if you want broccoli, put your little salt on it and just eat your broccoli and your meat. Eat your green beans. Now you can add a little bacon and fat back to them greens. Now you can do that, because that's still meat and a vegetable, but one ingredient items. And then once you start detoxing from that, then you can make your decision and stick with your beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. That is the best. I personally don't do sparkling water. I don't do any bubbly.
I
Will
do it. I do.
I know that's Robyn's jam. That is Robyn's jam. But for me, I don't. My big treat is the chocolate flavor that I'll do in my electrolyte, and then before I eat it, I heat it up like a cup of hot coffee, chocolate. That would be my sweet treat. That would be my ooh, and I have to be careful, because I have that. I don't know what it's called. It was a gift, but you put the heavy cream in it, and then you get that little CO thing or something, and twist it and turns into whipped cream. Yeah. But it's only that ingredient in there, and I'll do that to make it look like some whipped cream on it. And I just have my little thing, I know, on the porch within the fireplace. So see, look at y'all. Look at Kathy talking about she look that, you and Robyn, that's y'all. No, thank you. Look, he talking about the meat cookies. I know all of that stuff. So all right, that's my portion right there, ladies. So I do want to talk about the GKI testing. Not the testing, just the information. So I don't know if one of you ladies will have that in the description of your video. One of the things that we did make reference to is the felines group and finding your tribe. And I can say that this week, the challenges, Laura, I mean, she comes on, she's showing not how to sprint, but her sprinting, and it's just so encouraging that not only do you don't want to let yourself down, but you're going to report back to the group. And it's like, you just don't want to keep saying, I do nothing. Nope, didn't get that done. Nope. You don't want that. And when I turn around and hear it where, I was able to plank for 15 seconds, and I'm up to 30 seconds. That's what it is about. Yes, Kathy. But actually, Kathy, I stopped drinking carbonation a little bit before that. But yes, I don't. That is the reason. Because I think I might have went and had a Sierra Mist. That used to be my jam. But craziness, I used to love how the carbonation go across my throat, and it had to burn just a little bit and then get your good belch in. That was a ritual. All right. Okay, you have anything? You have some things starred on here. First of all, there's a new member, Faith and Hope. Thank you. Welcome,
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 Faith and
welcome.
Hope.
Yeah.
So glad
And
that
then
you're here.
I know. And then Laura has a question. Was it you
Yeah.
who said to use red light therapy with the cholesterol?
With the castor. I have not, because I have not done that myself, but I have seen several people that do talk about utilizing both of those together. Um, I would not be afraid to do it if I had the red light. If I had something I needed to do red light on, I would absolutely do that. I think it is completely safe. Knock on wood, no pain, no injuries, no nothing for a long, 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 long time, and I wanna keep it that way. But, if I did, I would absolutely do those together, so I think it'd be safe.
All right. Wait, it was something I was gonna add. Oh, I want the carbonation. I think enough. Well, because of the stomach surgery, when but just think about, this is how it works. When that carbonation hits the acid in your stomach, it does this. And just like just think about this. What Dizzy Gillespie, after he blew that trumpet so much, did you see what his jaw said? A stretch
Yeah,
is a stretch. And so for me, it is one of those, I don't want to stretch my stomach. I did, and that's why I didn't want to do carbonation even before, because once it hits your stomach, it's what's happening. Then look, you go to drink again, and you gave your stomach a workout, and you wonder why you can hold so much more food. That's just me. All
I
right.
will say something too,
Mm,
is that another thing that I didn't really think about when I was putting this one together. Another thing that I think is important that I didn't do for the first couple years on carnivore, I definitely didn't do it with keto, but on carnivore, is drinking water with my meals. I would drink huge amounts of water with
mhm.
my meals, and, I thought, "Why do I feel like this?" Or, "I can't get down, this amount of food." And then 3 hours later, I was hungry again, and I thought, "What is happening?" And I don't remember if it was Baker or Barry, or it was one of the doctors talking about that, and I thought, "Well, duh, that makes sense not to
I got that with
your
Dr.
stomach."
Casey.
And
That was one of my
oh,
things. I was talking about the acid in my stomach, and he was like,
mhm,
you shouldn't eat 1 to 2 hours before you eat. That acid
yep,
is there to break that meat and fat down. So don't
yes,
dilute it. And not only that,
exactly,
you shouldn't drink 1 to 2 hours after. Let your
yep,
digestive system do what it's supposed to do. So yeah,
right,
because never do you see the lion eat the meat and then go to the water
mm,
hole. If he eat that
nope,
meat and go somewhere and do one of them numbers and just like keep licking his face, licking his chops, that's it. And so yeah,
yeah,
all right.
I agree.
What we got in here? No, I don't even want, and I'm happy y'all love the carbonation, because this is about, listen, this is not a battle over it. I promise you, because you're thinking of food, that's all that matters. You are considering and thinking what's best for you. And so on
Mhm.
here, we are not going to pow you for, what you have.
No,
We're going to share it. You do what you
yeah,
do. We do what
that's
we
right, we
do,
are
and
not we are not keto
mm-mm,
police.
not
We're
at
not
all.
dogmatic in this place.
Not at
That's
all.
right,
You can be here, baby. You come on, because
not
let
at
me
all.
tell you, I ate. I saw them. I had 3 green olives. I did. They didn't even taste the same. I don't even know. It was like, oh
Bummer.
shoot, right. And so, yeah, don't kick me
All
out the
right.
group because I had 3 olives.
So,
We won't.
G, do you want to talk a little bit about our Marco? I think you were getting ready to start to talk
I
about it,
was
but
the Marco
yeah.
Polo. And I love that some of the ladies are in here this evening. It's like there's motivation first thing in the morning. It's an app, it's an outside app that we utilize. it's video texting back and forth. And so someone has a question, I love this week. We were able to watch, y'all saw me in the rain. I took y'all on the trip. So you got to see bits and pieces. It all depends on who would be in your group. But I mean, we had Panama and the beautiful city. Oh my gosh, you get to see a lot because you're coming in with your questions and you have to check in with us. And you know, you had this little 60 seconds where it's your 60 seconds. You do what you do. We had somebody told us a joke. So it was like that was their thing. And when you don't show up, we come looking for you. And
Yes.
it's you finding your tribe. And how do you do that? However you're watching in here, each one of us have a link, and it should be in the description of the video of where you are. You click that and you join. It's the $19.99 a month group. You would pay less than $20 a month to have access to all three of us, where we're in there in regards to food, we're in there in regards to exercise, we're in there in regards to medical advice. So you have access to Laura. Listen, we had someone whose mom ended up, needing medical treatment. She can say, make sure this, and this, and then, hey, this is what she received. And we're all listening with it because it's information that we can use as well. Oh yeah, I remember when that happened. So it's just a wealth of knowledge, but it's not taught to you. It's in ways of, hey, how you doing? And and we out of here. So it's 24/7. That's it. You have access 24/7, and you look forward to your tribe, and it's become a really tight community.
Yes.
But the groups are small. There's only 10 to a group. So, and yes, there's a group for men. Y'all group is a little slower because y'all are I don't know.
Men.
There you go. You put your finger on it. That is about the end of the day. I was like, oh my God, guys, fellas, come on. So
They don't want to ask no questions, darn it. Which I wish
everybody
they
knowing
would,
that
because
no,
that's
they're
okay.
hurting.
They'll come along. They'll come along.
They
But
will.
no,
Bless their
I think
heart.
having the Marco groups, in the beginning I was like, oh, I don't know if I don't, I was kind of him-hawing about it. It's the best thing we ever did. Absolutely. Every single day. If you don't see me on there, it's because I have no cell service or I died. That's the only 2 times you're not gonna see me on there. Um, because every bit of it, I love having the ability to, hear how everybody else's day, what's their trials, what's their tribulations,
Their goal.
like Sandra getting moved. That it was like
I
we were
know
with her,
we're over here
you
cheering
know.
her on for her move. I think
Yeah.
for me, I like when they show us, like Leo come
Yes.
on. It's like, here's my burger. This how much fat. You're
Yeah.
like reporting it. You're being responsible. Is it
Yeah.
mandatory? No. And then some of you might think, oh, I don't need that. For that much, Laura doesn't need it. I don't need it. Robyn doesn't need it. But I still
Yeah.
learn and pull from you guys. Or you'll turn around and say something. Say, oh yeah, we forgot about that. That type of thing. It is wonderful.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Well,
is.
look,
I agree.
come on, Passion
Yeah.
Speak. Yes. That's it. That's it. That's it. And then I will say this: we're lifelong friends now. It's like that person. Yeah, I like our groups because they're much more intimate. They really, really are. You come in, say your little thing, and go on from there. Here's a quick question.
Yep. I'm just posting my response. I use Lodge.
Lodge. Me too.
It's my favorite.
Yes.
Oh, hold up. There's a difference.
Yes. There is.
Absolutely.
So you just don't pick it up and it needs to be extremely heavy and season it.
Well,
Oh,
it's
and
cast iron, so
Right. So help
but
me understand.
my favorite brand of cast iron skillet is Lodge. So I've had some other
mine too.
ones in the past. Maybe some of the older ones like my grandmother used to have back in the day were better, but I don't got none of those.
See,
So the
that's
ones
what I have. That's
that
why
you
I'm
can go in the
asking you.
grocery
Y'all,
store
they're a
and
brand.
buy, the pre-season Lodge cast irons, and they're really nice. They're really nice.
Yeah, and I think you can tell the difference because if you look at the surface, like where the cooking surface is, some of your cheaper alternative brands are rougher. So it takes them longer to get to that seasoned, where stuff doesn't stick. Like you should be able to fry an egg without it sticking at all in a cast iron. And so I will say that most of the lodges that I've had, literally one time of seasoning them in the oven, and I mean, I could cook anything I wanted in it without anything sticking to it at all. So I agree. I think Lodge is
And I've
definitely
seen
wonderful.
I'm just gonna look into
cast
it. I
irons
didn't even
that
know it
just
was
like
a brand.
they just bubble up on the outside. Like I don't know,
Yes.
they're just gross. So
Yeah.
I've never seen a Lodge do that.
Wow.
No, me neither.
I'm getting ready to look. I thought you just go get your cast iron skillet.
The best seasoning method, I prefer, I take a cookie sheet and put it in the oven on the bottom rack, and then I oil my pan and turn it upside down in there and turn it up. I think I did 450 on mine for an hour and a half is what I did. And that seems to get it every single time. You can do it on top of the stove, but I find that it does better in the oven because you kind of get it all. I don't know. It just
But
seems to work really well.
the quick seasoning method is on top of the stove. But yes, that the way that Laura's talking about in the oven will make your seasoning last and last and last.
Yes.
Well, like I said, I'm learning something all the time. Doggone it. No, but
I want to
never had
show
buy one.
Sandra something real
I
quick.
got my own. Oh, I need some deodorant while we on here. But look here.
I'm showing Sandra her vanilla and her piece that I'm bringing to Ketopalooza.
Oh yeah,
Ketopalooza,
but listen,
yay.
I need deodorant, but I need like the large one
Yeah,
because
I've got the larger one.
Yes, you can use beef tallow, Chrissy. Yes, you can use beef tallow. You can use bacon grease. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here the reason why is because I didn't think when it was in the trunk. And then I get into the hotel and I went to do this and like the whole glob. So now what I was trying to scoop it back, I was like, this is crazy. I had the craziest. Yes. So I got that off my chest. Make sure I get my deodorant. Y'all, Laura has the best deodorant. I'm just letting y'all know. Go to her
tooth
site.
powder.
Yep, I had that as well. There's
facial
sometimes
serum.
when I want to make my stuff into a paste, I put a little coconut on my
mom does
brush,
too.
and then I dip it in my powder and brush with that, and then I try and do a little oil spilling with it. But I'm just gonna wait for the braces to come off because I'm so tired of these braces on my lip. Yeah.
Well, you're almost there.
I am almost there, honey. Yes, I am. Well, thanks everybody for joining in tonight. What y'all got going on this week? I just have my regular shows. I have some travel stuff coming up as well. What about you guys, lady? You guys, ladies. Jesus, I'm tired.
Ketopalooza. Laura's going to Ketopalooza, so yay.
I am. So yeah, I'm gonna make a couple. I'm making some psoriasis lotion. I've made it for a couple of patients now, and they're just like. So I'm going to be making some more of that this week and taking that out before I leave on Thursday. But yes, then the majority, I'll try to pop on. Of course, I'll be doing the Marco Polo group. But yes, I'll be at Ketopalooza, and I'm looking forward to going to a Brazilian steakhouse for the first time ever. I am fasting all the way till I get there, and I'm gonna be like, bring it on.
That's gonna be so good. Oh, the Brazilian steakhouse is amazing. Yes. So I this week am going to the Montello Theater for Carrie Mann's meetup. And so Dr. Kiltz is going to be there. And I know Nia from Nia's Way is going to be there. I'm super excited to see her again.
Good.
And of course, I'm just ecstatic to see Emma and Katie. I can't
I
wait to see them.
know.
Get to meet Jen and stuff. So I'm just really excited about that. I will not be having my regular Carnivorous Grandma Speaks on Saturday because of that event, but I may go live from there. I might, go live for a little bit from there just so that I can say hey and let everybody see what's going on over there.
Okay,
So
so
we're
I
all
just
jealous.
made it back today, and now y'all leaving me.
I'm only gonna be gone for one day though. You was gone for like
Oh,
several
you
days.
guys, yes. Well,
Yeah.
thanks to the community, you guys bought out all the tickets. When I decided to go, everything was sold out. So
Yeah.
there we are. It will have to be the next one. All right, but we will be
Yes.
here next week at 7
Yes,
p.m.
Yes.
We thank you guys, and we will see you. Oh, I'm finna push the button. That's your turn, Robyn.
See you next time. Bye, everybody.
See ya.